Hi everyone, today we're going to be looking at a game I played as Lure of the Deep Wilderness versus England 6. My strategy here is to go basically all the way up on the bottom track up to 4 card plays, looking for some good defense and fear cards. Turn 1, Softly Beckoned Ever Inward and Perils of the Deepest Island. Lure of the Deep Wilderness kind of plays around these kill zones that you set up with like beasts and badlands. So on board A, I'm looking for setting up the that inland blighted sands or the inland wetlands, sort of as like those areas that I'm trying to gather invaders and tokens into. So I think on this board, I do like it because you can get rid of the town in the inland jungles, and it can set you up for a pretty good turn if you can like push Dahan into the land that's ravaging. In this case, it's wetlands, so I'm pushing in. I gathered Dahan from the coastal jungles into the sands, and then pushing it out so that the ravage will clear that coastal wetlands. So you can get a decent turn 1, turn 2 pretty consistently, I think. So what I'm looking for is like a defend that I can stop a blight in that coastal wetlands. We'll see if I get it. Yeah, so Roiling Bog and Snagging Thorn has a defend 2. It has Moon and Plant, which is really good. It also has a fear and an isolate. So honestly, I think one of the better cards to get. And then Swallowed by the Wilderness is, I think, one of your big damage cards, because you're going to be building up beasts and badlands over the course of the game. And it has all the elements that you want. So Founder Defend, just dealing some damage into the towns that we gathered on turn 1. So I think usually the hardest initial land to set up is, or to explore first, is jungles. So I do want like mountains, sands, or wetlands to go first. I think mountains or wetlands probably in the ideal scenario. So I guess I go up on 2 energy here. I think it kind of depends on like how, because like you have to reclaim, so you do. Yeah, I go for the 3 card plays. So Lure actually is a pretty slow spirit building up. I got Quickens Your Struggles here, so it's another like solid defense card. The whole thing about Lure is that you can only be in the inland, or you can only place presence on the inland lands. So if your coasts explore, so like I think probably the worst scenario is like you go jungles, wetlands, mountains, and then stage 2 you get a coastal, and then so like jungles, wetlands, mountains, coastal, wetlands, it was just like game over. So you do need a little bit of luck with the lands that end up exploring, but we do get a good setup here because the jungles like don't explore at all. So it's wetlands, mountains, sands, and then wetlands again. And we were able to stop a blight in the coastal wetlands. So we're pretty solid. I do think like if as Lure, like you reclaim on turn, I think this is turn 4. As Lure, if you can stabilize and get up to like 4 card plays and you're feeling good on fear, I think you can pull out a win. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Sands of Ravaging, I do have the defend, and I was able to get rid of that town previously. I did take the, so here I'm looking at elements. So I think I took the air. So in his growth options, you can either get moon, air, or plant and 2 energy, or you can gain a power card. So first turn I do want to play Softly Beckon Inward, so that's why I took the energy in turn 1. But other than that, I'm taking power cards because I do think in this matchup specifically, you're looking for like you need fear, and so I think you could go major powers like up on the top track potentially, but I think having a bunch of minor powers that are dealing like bits of fear is a really good way to approach this matchup. So here I'm trying to figure out how to best deal with the, I think it's land 4 Sands that's ravaging here. Initially I wanted the 4 air because it lets you repeat your first innate, but I think that it just wasn't working out. So I'm trying to figure out like what the best way to get rid of, like, so it's 2 towns and a city. Here I'm thinking about Quicken plus Swallowed by the Wilderness, and then an extra, extra defend. I get a nice event to finish up the last town, and then I gather this town into the jungle to avoid a city in the coastal wetlands. So here we can decide where to place or where to get rid of a town. So I think the 2 biggest options are the jungles or the wetlands. And I think the best way to do it is just get rid of the town and the wetlands, avoid another blight. I do think going up to, so here you could do the 2 energy just to kind of supplement what you have already. I drew a minor power, another good defend. So I think I've gotten a lot of good defense cards here. And the inland wetlands is going to blight, I believe, but I think I'm okay with that. Like, really, the problem areas are the coast. So I'm okay with letting the inland wetlands blight once. To get a good event, I do have to forget the Roiling Bog minor power, but able to place another presence. So placing presence is actually like pretty huge, just because lure, I think the main thing that's slowing it down, like, it has a lot of good innate abilities. The thing that's slowing it down is how slow it places presence. So I'm at 2 energy and 4 card plays, at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. Even though I do have the Blighted Island, I get I think a pretty favorable blight card. So it's 5 blight, and I think you destroy a presence every turn. But as lure, like, I don't think you have a problem with presence, like getting rid of presence. I think you have a ton of presence on the board. So get rid of coastal jungles, the coastal city, or the city in the coastal jungles, and then reclaiming. Thanks to the previous event, I do have 4 card plays, which is pretty clutch. So jungles are coming up. So the reason 4 card plays is so good is because you can get your 4 air much easier, and that lets you repeat powers. So I did get Dark Entangled Wood, which is Fear and Defense, which is another great pickup. Gift of the Untamed Wild has the Moon and Air, which I really like. Oh, and then I think I'm setting up a turn for hitting the sands. I think mountains are going to be a problem, so I'm kind of thinking about that as well. But I don't think I have... enough to really deal with the inland mountains, or either of the mountains. So thankfully mountains didn't show up until now. I think I don't have enough to, like, I want to keep my minor powers that have mountain in it, or stone, I guess. But I think this upcoming mountain is going to be tough. I get a decent event that I think it's an event that shifts the card over as well. There's a lot of buildup in that Inland Sands, and that's kind of by design, because Swallowed by the Wilderness deals damage based on the number of tokens. And then your 2nd and 8 with 3 plant and a fire, you can add more Badlands. So over the course of the game, you're doing, like, you're adding a ton of tokens in there. And then if you destroy 5 or more invaders, you are able to gain, like, an extra fear. So here I'm deciding whether to go up to 5 and reclaim 1 or on the moon. And I do feel like I want to go up to 5. I think 5 might be the right call here. Even though I don't have maybe the money for it, like, I could try to go for some, like, 0 cost minor powers and look for, like, good elements. But I guess I go for the first growth option because I need the 4 energy for this. And I'm deciding which element to gain. I think, so I go plant to let me do tier 3 of the 2nd and 8. So the question is, where do I place this defend? I think coast is like always the priority, like keeping the coast clean. And I get another favorable event. So teach the invaders, I avoid 2 blight from this upcoming mountain ravage. And then Sands, so another favorable thing that happens here is that Sands is going to build twice. So I've set up this kill zone in the Sands. And so the fact that Sands is showing up like 2 times is actually a really good, it's just a good thing to get more stuff into where it's easy for me to kill. Trying to keep the coastal jungles clean. So I could place this extra Badlands either in the inland sands or inland jungles. And my thought is to start building up stuff in places that isn't, because I already have a bunch of stuff in that sands. So my thought was there's a city and 2 towns in the wetlands. Maybe let's start putting some stuff in there. And the fact that Sands builds twice, there'll be a city in the inland sands that will just be a prime target to get more fear. Yeah, so add a Badlands does 2 damage, so that's 4 damage to destroy a city. And I mean, this is what I'm talking about, where like I've stabilized, I have a turn that's skipping a ravage. Gift of Nature's Connection is honestly I think one of the best cards to get, because it gives you 2 of a single element, and as lure you have this 4 air threshold, you have this 6 plant threshold. So I could choose either to get 2 air or 2 plant here. And I think I want to get, so I have the whole threshold. Do I want to add, I don't have a huge amount of targets. Yeah, I get the 4 air because I want to maybe clean up some stuff. I think if I had, ideally I would have like a sacred site in the inland mountains. I think there's a lot of stuff in there. If I would have had that, I think I would have gone for 2 plant. Take out a town in the inland jungles. I can push any number of towns. So I think the better plan here would have been to push all the towns from the inland mountains into the wetlands, just because there's more stuff in there. Actually, I think what I'm thinking about is like using my innate as slow power to get rid of, or try to clear the other inland sands. But mountains like isn't a problem right now. Mountains and jungles showing up. But I mean, right now I have 5 card plays, and I have 2 turns to survive. I think I could generate enough fear at this point. So I think I'm getting rid of stuff from the mountains just to avoid the 7 building lose condition. Able to clear out that middle wetlands. Sands are ravaging twice. So middle sands is good. I have like a defend there. The way inland sands, I think that's land 7. That's gonna blight and cascade. So trying to decide, I could either go for a minor power here, or I'm going for the energy, just because I have the power cards I have in my hand are already like 4 energy worth. Trying to decide what I want to go for as far as elements. Swallowed by the Wilderness to defend the jungles, I think. But I already have a defend here. And I don't have enough energy to place all of it. So I need something 0 cost. Or, like, I'm thinking about fear. So I think what I'm thinking about is like softly beckon inward is 2 energy, and it doesn't really do much as far as fear. So I want to get something that I can generate more fear. So Swallowed by the Wilderness is the play here. I think I can do a lot with targeting the land 4 sands. So I think, I'm defending the jungle, the inland jungle, because the way inland sands is going to blight twice and cascade, and so I need to cascade into the wilderness, or into the jungle. So I need to defend that so that it doesn't so that I don't lose. So I'm just kind of testing out. I'm seeing what would be the best option here. And I think I'm okay with this. Clears out the sands, defends the inland jungle. And I don't really want to push anything, I think. Yeah, I don't want to push anything out of the lands with Badlands. So jungles and sands ravage, and then sands ravage. So cascade into the jungle. Mountains and jungle, I have 1 blight left. and then I check the fear card, and I only have to do 2 fear. So just gonna reclaim and then play anything that generates fear. Thanks for watching.